What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast interview, where every single week I interview top real estate professionals, top entrepreneurs, and straight up top badasses out there dominating their space. Now, real quick, before we jump into this podcast interview, because look, I want to make sure that I'm supporting and helping you as much as I possibly can on your own real estate success journey. So if you would like to schedule a 100% free, zero pressure Zoom coaching call with me personally. This is going to be a 60-minute long Zoom coaching call with you and I. What we're going to do a deep dive breakdown into your real estate business, what your goals are, what your strengths are, what your biggest obstacles are. Then based on that, I'm going to map out my personal recommended strategy to get you from where you're at to where you're looking to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner possible. This is something that you want to take advantage of. Go to www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call, or you can go to gsdmode.com. You'll see a banner at the top, plus a bunch of other free resources. Pick up my free ebook, other webinars, other trainings on there. All right, so if that's something you want to take advantage of, again, www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. Now let's get into this epic GSD Mode podcast interview. All right, what is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast real estate interview, where every single week I interview top real estate professionals, top entrepreneurs, and straight up top badasses out there dominating their space. And tell you guys, we've got another amazing epic guest on the podcast. This is actually round number 2 from my good friend, Jen Marie. Welcome back, Jen.
Thank you, Josh. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, no, me as well. And just to kind of recap, to add some context for anybody that's watching or listening, I'm going to link, if you guys go right below, there's going to be a link to Jen's first podcast that we did talking about her journey. And she's been in the industry 25 plus years. She's actually in my market. So I see her numbers, see what she's doing. She's been, throughout my whole entire career, been one of the top agents and top team leaders in my given market. So that podcast is really going to be going through, the first podcast that we did is really going through her journey of how she got started, how she created an extremely successful team, became the #1 female RE/MAX agent, in the state of Arizona, one of the top in the country, and built and continues to have one of the top teams in the nation. But now we're going to pick up on all the things that Jen's doing today. And one of the things I want to do a deep dive in is, look, so many people's businesses are declining right now. Well, your business is on track, to do 100+ million from what you did last year?
Million.
Yep.
We did 176 million last year, which was down from 220. But we had our best January, February, March. Now we're going to have the best May on record. And so right now we're on track for 300 million.
Yeah, 300 million. So you're okay. So that is, it's like 120 million growth year over year of growth. So we're not talking 100 total million. We're talking, 300+ million this year in a slow market. And I think before we hit the record button, you were just saying that you put 12 million under contract just like in the last week.
Well, yeah, actually more than that, but 3 of the homes, we had 1 3 million, 1 7 million, and one, was it 7? Oh my gosh, it was like 7, 10, and 3. But yep. We're seeing a lot more luxury clients, and there's just so much misconceptions out there that there's less business to go around. There's actually more opportunity that I'm seeing right now, more than I ever saw during those good years. Because the good years were easy, but now we're actually taking over market share.
Yeah. Well, and you came and spoke at one of my private events recently where we had you come up and speak for a few hours and break down your business. And one of the things that you mentioned was really honing back and getting back to the fundamentals. So I mean, because got numerous things going on, which we'll kind of break down all of these things, but we got transaction volume fell off a cliff in the middle of 2022 and continues to remain at 30-year lows. So there's lesser people acquiring real estate. We got the most unaffordable time to acquire real estate when adjusted for inflation in U.S. recorded history, most unaffordable time to be alive. So we got the economic factor, then plus, the NAR stuff, which we'll get into, but what were the shifts that you made, okay, when 2020, 2021, and then boom, when things started, really correcting, because we're both in the same market, and our market got hit pretty hard in 2022. Like we were one of the few markets that did fall off of, or started to fall off a cliff. And then we kind of course corrected and been still correcting since. But what were those, at a very high level, what were those big kind of foundational fundamental moves that you guys made as an organization to transition with the changes that we've seen over the last couple of years?
Yeah, so we, hopped on the opportunity train that 2020 and 2021 provided. We were recruiting, we were selling a lot of homes. I like to squeeze the lemons out of my business, so I opened up a joint venture title company. We grew our vendor program, so I had different, and now our rev share, so we have multiple streams of income. But when the business dried up, what happened to me, I was not running the smart business that I thought I was. And the agents who thought they were so much greater than they were didn't have the skills of what it takes today. So I saw this. I knew I've gone through like complete devastation when the market crashed in '08. I was able to, even though I pretty much lost everything, but I was able to see the opportunities of short sales and REOs, being at the court steps. But now with our team, I'm like, great, right? This crazy thing. It's like what Warren Buffett says, when everybody's like scared, that's when you need to be running towards it. So I'm like, we have to level the F up across the board. We had to get back to our core values that we love to talk about, but were we really honoring them in 2020 and 2021? And one of the biggest things that we have put down is, first of all, level up on the training. We talk about the basics. They are boring. Nobody loves to do boring, right? We do this every day on our team. We have our Monday team call, which was always there. This is our entire team setting our rocks for the week, training principles, what we have. So anyways, we have that. We have our team meetings on Tuesday, but we were kind of letting agents off the hook the rest of the week. So on Wednesday, we have an hour and a half database metrics. We work with Zillow at a high level. We go over those, then we go into role play. Thursday, we added another role play. Friday, we added deal doctoring. And then on Wednesday, we're actually making them come in and do presentations, get recertified for buyers, get recertified for sellers, know our buyer presentation, know our buyer advantage, which is this is our unique selling proposition to our buyers, which is mandatory now to get signed on every single deal. So as we do this, we have seen our agents actually grow their skills. I'm seeing progress every day. I am in the office Monday through Friday. Most of the time I'm in here grinding away, but when I go out, I'm always listening. I'm always looking. I'm seeing the agents that are showing up every day, and I'm hearing them get better every week. And so that, and just bringing people up together, collaboration over competition. It really is, like Darwin said, not the most smartest man or the most physically capable, but the most quickest to adapt. But it's also, how do you get quicker to adapt? The highest collaboration is going to allow you to see what you shouldn't be doing, right? Let's talk about our mistakes. Let's talk about what's not working right now. And then what is from the smartest minds in the industry. And I will say, out of my if someone's like, what would you say is the number one thing behind everything you've accomplished? The number one thing for me has been masterminds. By getting myself, it's so boring and like just energy draining to be the smartest person in the room. When I go into these rooms and it's like, I feel stupid, it's the most inspiring feeling to have. And just like with you, like you had taught me so much, and it's really from that servant's heart. Like, you just give value, you give value, you give value, and mysteriously the money follows. So yeah.
Yeah. Yep. No, I love that. So a lot to unpack there. So when you're talking about, okay, like really sounds like, one of the main shifts that you guys really started leveling up your internal training, and not just, hey, we're offering this training, but mandating everybody to participate in that training to level up their skills. Now,
Yeah.
what are the kind of skills that you guys are focused, like when you're role playing, when you're doing this stuff, because like with all this tech and all this AI and funnels and, and look, I think all that stuff's great. And I'm big into all that stuff too, but I'll tell a lot of agents, I'm like, look, you haven't even mastered the basics yet. Like, don't worry about the fancy funnels. Like, if you don't know how to pre-frame a conversation, or if you haven't mastered the ability to set appointments, or, so can you kind of walk us through, like, what are the things that you noticed that your agents were lacking that you were laser focused on in this market to make sure everybody's got mastered?
Yeah. So most agents cannot answer the question of why a buyer should work with them and not work with another agent or do it themselves. You know, especially with NAR, they can just go directly to the listing agent. Why do I need you? And so that we make our agents be able to answer that. From the time the call comes in, let's listen to the calls. You're going to actually role play buyer agent, you know, like obviously, and then they actually have to give up and do a meet and greet, go through the home and go over our unique selling proposition, how you're going to deliver it to the buyer of this is the problem. You know, you can't always see all the homes on the market, right? You don't know the ones that might be for sale by owner. Maybe they're coming soon. Maybe we just know a seller that said, bring me a buyer and I would buy. So do you want to just see the homes on Zillow or do you want to see all the homes for sale? Well, how are you going to deliver that? We all know how to find off market homes. We go on Zillow, look at FSBOs, look at expireds, look at canceled. Our brokerage has an internal source so we can see off market listings all across the country. There's other channels like that. Raven is another one, but get to have this inventory, be an expert at your market. I still remember a advice that an agent gave me like 15 years ago. He was super successful. He's like, the number one thing is I got into over 500 homes in 6 months. So I knew this area better than anybody. And that was the first 6 months of him getting his license. So getting our agents out into this inventory, we do agent tours, we do builder tours. You'd be surprised. I went in to preview some homes out in Surprise, beautiful community. I get in, I was like, hey, I'm here with my team. We want to see what you have to offer and incentives. They were absolutely like shocked that an agent would go in there and tour these new homes. And so we did some video. The reps love me because I showcased them. And she's like, I really need to work on my social media. But getting out in the inventory, like actually practicing what you're going to say. And then, yeah, you are going to have to practice on some clients because you're going to have a conversation of, I need this signed before I can actually go open the door. So that is the conversations, objections. Sometimes it's simple at looking at like the text messages, but when agents say like, oh, these are bad leads, I had an agent about 6 months ago, and he's like, I got 30 leads and they're all bad leads. We listened to one of the most horrendous calls I've ever heard on a luxury $2 million buyer lead who ended up transacting with our team. But he had given himself only good feedback. He's like, they're all bad leads. And I'm like, you've had 30 leads. So you are either the unluckiest person in the whole entire world or you have a conversion problem. He got offended. He left. We took those 30 leads. We put 7 in escrow in 2 weeks. So getting out of the mindset that, oh, they're all bad leads. Oh, like they're not ready today. Oh, they ghosted me. Why did they ghost you? You probably didn't build that rapport. Most of these are buyers looking to transact in the next 3 to 6 months, but you dismiss them because they didn't call back. Maybe they even didn't show on an appointment. I can tell you our team has converted so many of those throughout the year. So not giving up, the number one reason why agents fail is just not follow up. So following up, like it takes on average 17 touches for every appointment. So you have to call that lead 17 times. Call, text, don't be afraid to get over the phone. Do not hide behind boring text messages. Do not hide behind these canned emails. They will not convert for you. The number one thing that's going to convert for you is getting on the dang phone.
Yeah.
So yeah, getting our agents into confidence, because most of the time it's just some fear, it's some insecurity, getting them into confidence because accountability comes from a place of love. If we didn't give them accountability, we wouldn't be caring about them or ourselves. So yeah, it's really seeing the gaps in the industry. It's thinking outside the box when you see these opportunities, knowing that 60 to 70% of agents' business is down. Was that the percentage? Or is it 50 to 60?
Yeah, I mean, and this is just conversations that I'm having, with agents reaching out to me through the podcast and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, the average is down somewhere between 40 and 60% when I'm having conversations. Now, these might be people that are reaching out to me for, that reason. So I don't know what the NAR stat. I mean, we know that 49% of realtors closed one or less transactions last year. So we
Yeah.
know it's down significantly.
Yeah, and obviously, we've had probably 10 agents leave the team this year that are no longer in real estate. I think one's a travel agent. I think one drives Uber. So yeah, there is going to be a mass exodus of agents. So don't let that be you, because it's exciting to see, bye-bye, Felicia's. Now we can take over because we're the ones that are dedicated to our skill. We're the ones that are in it long term. Like, get over your laziness, because that's what I mostly see. Like when agents are doing success, they make some money and then they think that, like, okay, it's pleasure time. This is not a time to let off the gas. And I'm telling my agents, hey, you want to be all in this year? um, this is the time to be all in. When all the agents are taking vacations, when all the agents, that have had good years, are letting their foot off the gas pedal. I know it's 110 degrees here, but if you go all in right now, have a very imbalanced life. Talk to your husband or spouse, talk to your kids, quality over quantity with them, but set the precedent that, like, hey guys, there might be some days that I'm working 7 days a week, not forever, but I'm going to do this now while all the agents are either exiting, they're away. I'm going to take their business, because when December comes around, it's Christmas. I'm looking at, the Christmas tree with Christmas music. My kids are around. That's the time I'm going to reflect on the year and to be like, I am so glad that I put myself through so much suffering, because now, I'm able to enjoy the rewards with the most, meaningful, purpose of my life, which is to be with these humans and create a beautiful life for them and myself. So yeah, that is like, it's all mindset. I know we like need the tactical, but if we focus on growth, we focus on who do I need to be to get where I need to go? That is what we need to focus on. The stoicism, you can't control the external, but you always can control the internal, and just know that. And it's a challenge. You should feel uncomfortable. You should feel a little scared. You should be a little angry because anger, can really fuel that passion. But whatever it is for you, that if you want to be an agent, if you want to be successful, this is the formula, and it's basic. We've heard mindset a million times, we've heard role play, but if you can actually really let it sink into your head, it is the dang basics. As a business person, the basics of my profit and loss, I hate doing that. I'm doing it every Monday now. Back to the basics as a business person, as an agent, back to the basics of what I need to do to put our clients first and service our clients in the highest manner that we could.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know if this is, I'm sure it's always been an issue, but I think one of the issues is, with social media and whatnot, okay, people see the success that, those in the industry like you are having, but then they also see the lifestyle that you're able to go out there and live, but they don't do the due diligence to break down the sacrifice it took to get you here. I remember from our first podcast that we did, you were telling the story about, you're in labor and you're telling that like the doctor's getting ready to roll you in and you're like, hey, I need 5 more minutes because you're writing this deal on your laptop, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like you had to put in that grind. One of my mentors always says when people tell him that business, oh, I get into business because I want to control my own schedule and freedom of schedule. And he's always like, hey, look, when you're new and you're in the startup phase, yeah, you can pick and choose your hours and have freedom of schedule. Just pick and choose the 17 hours a day that you're going to work.
That's what I was just gonna say. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, and I would say, like, I would not recommend people have to negotiate when the baby is coming out of you. But first of all, I'm dedicated and I needed those deals done. I literally saved a seller from going into foreclosure the next day. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if, like, the baby's head was crowning and I had to ask the doctor. I was on the line with a supervisor. So, but fast forward 10 years later, I've been able to, Monday through Friday, you weren't going to see me like taking a lunch break. I'm going to go balls to the wall because I'm going to take Saturday and Sunday off with my kids. So that fueled me to be like, I don't want to be in this place. I want to be able to hold my baby and not be stressed. But what did I have to do to get to the next place? So when I had my fourth child, I mean, still didn't take a maternity leave, but I was able to stay at home.
Hey, Joshua Smith here, and I really hope that you are enjoying this GSD Mode podcast so far. We'll get back to it here in a quick second. Just want to do a quick reminder that, look, if you're a real estate agent, team leader, and broker owner, and your real estate business is not exactly where you want and need, and you do not know exactly what you must do to get from where you're at to where you want to go, if that's you, I invite you to schedule a 100% free Zoom coaching call with me personally. This is going to be a 60-minute long Zoom coaching call with you and I. We're going to do a deep dive breakdown into your business, what you're doing, what you've been doing, what's going well, what's not going well, what your biggest obstacles are, your current situation. Then from there, I'm going to map out my exact recommended strategy to get you from where you're at to where you want to go in the most quickest, effective, profitable manner possible. So if this is you, something that you want help with, something that you want to take advantage of, go to www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call, www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call, or wherever you're watching or listening. If you just go in the description or the show notes, the top link right there will be a link to go out there and schedule that. Looking forward to jumping on this free coaching call to help you get dialed inside your real estate business soon. Now let's get back to this epic GSD Mode podcast. So when you talk about, the buyer presentation and listing presentation certification, so that's like an internal certification that you issue to your agents, I'm assuming, like what is it like? What do they have to go through? Is it X amount of hours, X amount of role plays, and like a final test where you need to
Yes.
make sure they're proficient? Like what does that look like?
They have to attend all the role plays. There are some role plays that are for specifically below metric agents. If they do not attend those classes, we do shut off their leads. We give them other lead opportunities, but mainly go back and work the leads that you weren't able to convert. So there's mandatory role plays. Wednesdays, we have buyer presentations one day. We have listing presentations the next week. But every Wednesday at 1:30, it's database re-engagement. So we literally just go into follow-up boss. We go through every agent's lead. They say, this is a bad lead. This is a bad lead. This guy ghosted me. Well, my sales director gets on the call live in front of about 20 or 30 agents. And every time he calls the bad leads, he books at least one appointment. So it's about a 40-50% appointment rate for him calling these leads that the agents have given up on. So they can hear it in real time, and then it's time for them. They do role play practice from 2:30 to 3:30. They do role play practice on the presentation. They do like a mock showing and go over our buyer advantage, ask them to sign, and build like how do we book the next appointment at that appointment, because you should be every single appointment. You should always have the second appointment booked, whether it be a phone call recap at at 9 o'clock in the morning, or hey, I can do a video tour of that home this day, or I'm going to do a Zoom, or we're going to have coffee, or we're going to go to the next house. But it's getting the agents to be able to see that pipeline and move it along the pipeline. And then, yes, they do have to have a final test where they present to us. We've been doing that in very small groups of 3 or 4, and at their same level. So we have tiered levels, and all the ones that have graduated and have plugged in, and mostly those are the experienced agents. So the experienced agents are the ones that are plugging in the most, which is like success leaves clues. So yeah, if they don't pass go, they don't get $200. They either get shut off leads and they can grow their business in other ways, or we make them an offer to move on to another destination that would be more fitting for them.
Yep. Now, what would you say? Because we have agents, team leaders, brokers, all different levels that watch and listen to this podcast. So if you're, an individual agent, whether you're new or seasoned, like what would you say? Because yeah, I mean, look, professionals are always practicing, always mashing their craft. Professionals get paid, amateurs pay to play, but there is that balance of okay, how much time do we work in practice versus, hey, like we got to get in the field and put deals together too. So like, what would you say is kind of the perfect flow for your agents? Like how many hours a day should they be practicing? And then how many hours a day should they, like, assuming they're full-time, should be grinding inside their business?
And you're talking about newer agents?
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, we can use that as an example.
So yeah, I mean, there's like obviously things that all agents should be doing. But for newer agents, and I know this might sound like a little self-promoting, but I'm not in all 50 states. So this is for agents all over. If I were to start business back again in 2003, I would have joined a team. Teams
Yeah.
weren't very prevalent, and also masterminds weren't. I was able to be successful right off the bat, but also I got in 03 and 04 and 05 were great. But when it happened, when the shift happened and I owned 12 homes, I was building homes, like all my money was in real estate, I was devastated. But if I had been with a successful team, I would have had the knowledge, I would have had the tactics, I would have had a pipeline and saw the opportunity so much quicker. But now teams are prevalent. There's also a lot of bad teams, and this is supposed to actually be the number one year that teams either get absolved or absorbed. So, and we've seen that opportunity. We have three teams that are on my team that are partner teams. So on this, I would, and those are experienced agents that joined my team. I'm talking about very successful agents. So if you're a newer agent and interview teams, definitely interview them. And I would say join a team. But a team that is well run is going to have the tactics that, yeah, maybe you'll make 100%, but you close 3 deals that year instead of working with a team that has lead opportunities, the training, the real masterminds. They're you're going to be able to close 30. What's 50% of 30 versus 100% of 3? So that's what I would advise for new agents to get into the business. Real estate school teaches you absolutely nothing on how to build a real estate business. And how are you going to know? By just doing trial and error by yourself, living as an island, working off your kitchen table, and you got this license that it took 30 days to get maybe. How are you going to know what to do? So surrounding yourself by people that are already where you would love to be is going to be your best success tactic.
Yep, love it. So then, okay, so is it because look, there's a lot of team leaders, brokerage owners, and maybe the brokerage owners have a leads division where they're running that division like a team, but I know you're very diligent on inspecting what you expect and holding your agents to the standards that you have internally, as an organization. How do you do that? What does that look like? I mean, is it like a daily scorecard system? Kind of walk us through like how you make sure that you're holding your agents to those standards.
Well, one of the 4 disciplines of execution is having a scoreboard. So we have TVs in our office that have the scoreboards on flashing throughout. So this is follow-up scorecards. We have a team scorecard, and then we have a Zillow metric scorecard. We go over these scorecards with them every week. Monday is the team scorecard. Wednesday is the Zillow scorecard. And so they're always going to know where they land. It's funny because I was meeting with an agent yesterday. He's really taken off. He went to a 10% conversion rate. And he's like, one day you called me out. You publicly shamed me on the team call because my metrics were in red. He's like, that really like pumped me up. I needed that. And that's why he was able to go from a 4% conversion rate to a 10% in 3 months. So accountability and actually seeing the metrics, you need to know where your gaps are. So like say we look at our scorecard, we have, did you hit the bullet point? First of all, what's your answer rate? Every time your phone rings, how many times are you answering it? If it's 30%, you suck. So the next one is, did you hit all the bullet points? Did you book the appointment? Now, if you book the appointment, great. You're doing a good job at that, maybe. Did they actually meet you? And if you have, like, say, on average, ours should be about 70%. And most of the time with experienced agents, it's much higher. But if agents are sitting at 30, 40, 50%, you have a problem. You maybe didn't like get it sticky. Maybe you weren't clear. Maybe you didn't follow up. Whatever you did, you missed something that they didn't feel they needed to meet you. So maybe that you're doing good, but maybe you are meeting them great. Are you showing them homes? No, I met them great. Now I'm emailing them, calling. Well, you're not showing them homes. So what do you do to get the buyers in the car? Now, maybe you're doing all good and you're showing homes. Are you making offers? No, I showed 20 homes, but I'm not making offers. Okay, like how do we need to ask to make that offer? Where in the appointment, don't end an appointment with, what do you think? Or I'll send you a list of homes. You need to ask them, do you want to make, what do you think about this home? 1 to 5, what would you rate it? You know, you want to make an offer? It's not that crazy. Maybe you're making offers, but they're falling out in escrow. So that is what we look at. So we can actually coach to the gaps of every single one of their agents. We know what they are. We listen to agent calls every Wednesday as well. So they're going to hear some good ones. They're going to hear some bad ones, and we're going to have real honest feedback. But our agents have been doing really good at that. They're getting better at role playing. The more agents that we get that are pumped, they're all in, they're bringing so much to role play that our newer agents, are hearing and are able to implement. Literally, they can get off a role play, hit the phones, and they can immediately implement something they heard on the role play into that to increase their conversion. So, sorry, I need some water.
Yep. No, love it. So then, okay. So you're tracking those essential KPIs, because that's an impossibility then to see where the holes are within your agent's bucket to be able to coach them up. Then
One thing I was
go
gonna
ahead.
add, I'm spending about 45 minutes a day auditing each agent's, not all of them, I'll just batch it. Today I'm gonna do 3 agents, today I'm gonna do 5. I go into their follow-up boss, I see where the categories are, I listen to some calls, I ping them on where they're missing notes or missing calls, they didn't follow up. And even though I'm only spending 45 minutes a day, they probably think I'm doing this about 6 to 7 hours a day. And I'm only, hitting like maybe 3 or 4 leads and pinging them. But that has made them level up so much more. And I'm inspecting what I expect. We've also been thinning the crowd. So we're having more honest conversations, putting them on performance improvement plans, and then, dismissing or whatever, letting them go, because we can't have the weak links. We can't have the C players anymore. And then the A and the B players look and they're like, God, we don't have C and Ds anymore. Sometimes Fs. But that's been, it's that group accountability, that group supporting each other, and them seeing like this is possible, that has made all of them increase their business. Our top agents have all increased their business since last year already.
Yep. No, that's awesome. So then, okay. So that was going to be my next question is, what does that improvement plan, AKA probationary period, look like? How quickly do you put them on it? What must happen in there for them to kind of reprove themselves?
Yeah, so we implement a 199 fee, because that fee alone will chase the bad ones away. Because if somebody's willing to walk away from my team for 200 bucks, it's a good thing for me. But with the performance improvement plan that they have to sign, it's a one sheeter, they have to attend every single thing. If they have a one-off exception, if they give us advance notice, they have got to, without our help at all, generate one escrow before they can get off the pit. That's not our leads, that's their own leads. And any leads that they have to get the metrics up. So say they had 30 leads, they didn't convert any. If you don't have one in escrow in 30 days, you're out. So every person that we put on a PIP with the 199 fee that we implemented 2 months ago, they've left. And they did us a favor because they were costing us a lot of money in losing all of my hard earned leads. So
yeah. So when you say that 199 fee, that's hey, I'll pay you 200 bucks just to call it quits and leave.
no, they have to pay me 199 if they want to stay on my team.
Oh, okay. Just a one-time fee to then
No,
go
it's every month. Every
every
month
month.
yeah. So they immediately have to pay that fee. They don't have 3 months. They have no grace period. You have to pay that fee for as long as it takes to get you up the metrics, but you have 30, 60, and 90 days. If you do not hit those metrics in 90 days, you no longer have a position on our team.
Yep. Love it. Love it. No, that's amazing. And I know that you've got high standards that you adhere to. I've heard some of your stories that you've shared with me. Like, you're not messing around with this stuff, right? Like, you're
Yeah.
making sure that, and I love that, right? It's like Steve Jobs said, of don't lower don't lower your expectations, like be the yardstick, and you adhere to your very high standards of what your expectations are.
Yeah, people, I sometimes have to talk to agents that are coming in and warning them about myself, because I'm not for the faint of heart. Like, I will challenge you. That's what I like, but those are the people I like to surround myself by. So if you come in and you complain, I'm immediately going to flip it back. Like, what's the solution? Don't come to me with a problem. You always have to come to me with a problem and a solution. And then I'll like talk to you and like we'll see what's the best way forward. Um, but yeah, sorry, I got off track there.
Yeah, 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 love it. So then, okay, so then we talked about, the accountability there. Now, another question for you, because I'm talking to a lot of team leaders that seem to be making this transition that are getting much more strict about only taking on full-time agents. They're kind of realizing
Oh,
that, part-timers just aren't
definitely.
cutting it in this new era that we're in. Is that some, I mean, do you have part-time, or is everybody, at least to be in your leads division, do they have to be full-time?
Yeah, so I've been running this for 3 years, but every month I have what's called a fast track intensive. Those are for all new agents and it's for experienced agents alike because every single agent that's ever come onto my team, no matter what experience level, they've always needed training on the basics. So for 2 weeks straight, they have to be at every single class. They have to do the homework every day. So they're going out, they're showing homes, mock showings, they're learning how to open up a lockbox, they're scripting, they're objection handling, they're doing buyer presentations, contract writing, negotiating. It's very packed. And we let them know, like, you're going to be really stressed out the next 9 days. You're going to be super busy. But if they're not willing to invest that time, I'm like, what other industry can you in what 90 hours earn a six-figure income or beyond, but then expect that we don't have to show up to work every day? Like, oh, I have to show up for work 9 days, but I can make 200 grand. I don't know if the investment would pay off. So that shows commitment. The two things that are the most important in every successful agent I've ever seen is hunger and commitment. So great, you can tell me you're hungry. You could say, I want to make 100 grand this year. I'm so excited. And then there's no commitment and we find out later, right? So we have that. And then we have another 2 weeks of PEP. But it is essential for every new agent to plug into that because a lot of these agents that are graduating in 30 days, they already have one or two escrows. So it is absolutely like the ultimate accountability, which we had gotten away from. But since we've implemented that, we have, I mean, like I said, we've seen more success this year than we've seen definitely in 22 or 23.
Yep, yep. Now, are these things that you are personally running, or do you have a sales
Oh,
manager running this stuff?
yeah, it's actually so amazing that I have some of these team leaders that I partnered up with. So no, I have a sales director, I have an integrator. I will come in and teach a class. I'll be there at graduation. But no, it's very leveraged. I've built over time and I've gotten a lot of tips from you on this, a whole platform of coaching and training. We do require, if the agents don't show up, the agents don't take the online training, they don't pass go. But that way, and then we have like the arsenals of even like Slack, all of the extra like agents meeting agents. We have agents, agent ran masterminds that they can plug into. So it's really just their peers, not me or my sales director. But we've also been able to bring these team leaders in to be like, hey, will you host a class? We get our lender. Will you host a class? Then they'll pay for lunch and they'll come in and drop value. So it's really leveraging other people. And no matter where you're at, I'm sure you have people you can leverage. You're training your agents, you bring your home inspector in, leverage the people you have, and you don't have to do it all yourself.
Yep, yep. No, I love it. And making people prove. I'm a huge believer in you test. Like instead of just exhausting us time, energy, money, risk of exposure, whatever of investing in leads, like make them prove themselves.
Mhm.
So okay, so then now with all this NAR stuff coming about, I guess the date now is what, August 17th. And I know there's a lot of unknowns now, but what are some of the top things that you are doing internally to go out there and prep and prepare for this?
So we've been running this. Craig Proctor, I coached with him back in the day. And most of the stuff that I have is like rip off, make it my own, and repeat. So we had a buyer's advantage that we had been already using the last 10 years. And it was 10 bullet points of what sets us apart, our unique selling proposition. So off-market inventory, love it or list it, home warranty included. And then at the end, we have what our commission is, how, what our commission rate is, which is a 3%. We also have an admin fee, and they sign off on it. So they know exactly that disclosure. All we did is resurrect that because we had gotten in from like maybe 80% implementation rate when I had a smaller team and I was able to have more accountability. And we got off the trend. We were at like 10%. So now it's required on every single transaction. So we had the buyer and seller certifications May 31st. So we're coming up on it is our deadline. So as of June 1st, that buyer's advantage is going to have to be used on every single contract or they don't get paid. Now the don't get paid thing is really getting agents scared. There's so many, I've heard so many agents that are like not concerned at this. Like, I don't want to lead with fear. Well, you better have some practicality and like some like what is actually legit concern. Because if you wake up August 1st and you're like, oh, good morning, guys. I've never had a contract to buyer agency signed before a showing before, but magically I'm going to figure it out today. So the first time you should practice should not be on your client's ultimate fail. So that is going over our unique selling proposition. We have shortened it. We've made it a little bit sexier. Pretty much nothing else has changed there. Now our agents have that in their buyer book. But what we did really implement is the buyer presentation. Not that they have to go through a 30-slide buyer presentation. It's all about talking to them, building a rapport, finding out the most important things for them, and then matching it with what our unique selling proposition is. Oh, I'm relocating here from Minnesota. I have 3 kids. The schools in the neighborhood are really important to me. But I'm really nervous because I don't know the area. Well, you talk about their area, you find them the home that you think you're loved, and maybe they're still concerned. Be like, well, if you're ever not happy in the first year you're in the home, we will sell it for free. That is just one way to kind of lift that barrier. So anyways, we are getting into the buyer presentations or actually having to do it. And then we also have some additional collateral, something that somebody can feel, touch, and really just touch on those main points. And again, we're not going through some boring presentation. We're not trying to sell ourselves. We are trying to make that connection and be able to have the buyer be like, wow, you know what you're doing. You're not like the other agents I'm calling. You're an expert agent. And I've already heard other agents on other teams, the way they're asking for the buyer agreement to be signed before they ever go and show their home in the first 2 minutes of a call, it's gone horrible. Those buyers have actually come into us back from another agent they met with through Zillow, back through our channel, and we've been able to sign them that, in the living room. So it's like, don't be salesy. This is about them. It's not about you. And with that set of skills, with that value that the agents are now confident in presenting, that's what is setting us apart. We're prepared. We love it. Now we're so excited for August.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, okay. And it's look, most in this industry have been used to, I'm guessing now I could be wrong here, but the vast majority of this industry, has a dialed in listing presentation. And part of that's because it's been law to get a signed listing agreement, but it's, just treating your listing side just like the buy side and having a dialed in buyer presentation. That's a, overall protocol process that you guys are going through. And I always look at, okay, any great presentation should inform and educate, articulate your value, overcome any objections, lead seamlessly into the close. So it looks like, okay, you guys are just presenting that. But then what I love about this is you're not waiting for August. You're like, hey guys, this is a mandate right now, even though maybe we don't have our quote unquote new buyer broker forms yet, but we're going to start practicing so everybody's ready and prepared. And you're not waiting till the day this rolls out.
No, and it's like my opinion on the buyer broker, which I have used 0% of my 2,000 transactions, is a bunch of BS. It's locking them into a long-term agreement with not a single spelling out of what you're going to do above and beyond just your basic fiduciary duties. So if you plan on using that, I mean, sorry to be too honest, but you suck. You know, how is that helping your clients? So have your own. I know EXP has a one sheeter that's good, but you also gonna have to like say, we now know that whatever you put on that agreement, if it's 2.5, 3%, even 4%, if somebody is offering less and you tell your clients like, oh, if they're doing it for 2.5%, I'll accept that. If you sign it at 2.5 and then they offer 3 or 4%, you've just cut yourself out of, maybe like $10,000, $20,000. So how are you going to explain that you're going to get, maybe you're looking at new builds, maybe you're going to ask for 4%. If you don't, if you have to explain to the buyer how they're going to have to pay you, like, well, wow, I don't have the money. You don't have the money. Well, how can you put it? How can you tell the buyer different ways that you can help with a commission? But what if you come across a listing? It's going to happen. They're offering 0%. Maybe they're offering 1%. But whatever the case is, it might be an auction deal. You're going to have your buyers, either you're working for free or you're going to have to an agreement to know how to structure that for the buyer so that you can get paid at the end of the day.
Okay, and just so I'm not misunderstanding, so you're saying, okay, your plan is having your own buyer broker agreement or the one that EXP has, and not using the armless one that's rolling out here August 17th.
I would say don't take my legal advice.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that, but we're going to be using our buyer advantage, and maybe we have to add something, but we've had our broker look over it, make sure everything's up to par. But the thing to the buyers is we are going to have 6 very unique selling propositions, so they know what they're getting when they're signing off on that, on what they're going to pay us. Are we actually worth the money? And we also put it like our stats on there. So yes, worst case scenario, you have to pay me 3%. But I'm going to save you $30,000 on the home. We got that $7 million listing. Contract. The home was listed at 12 million. We got it accepted for 7. Do you think we were worth our 3%?
Yep. 100%.
So like, know those metrics, know your business, and know like, yeah, I'm worth it. I'm not a 1% agent. I'm a 3% agent. I'm a 3.5% agent. And here's why.
Yep. Yep. And I am one that has been really strict on doing a buyer broker agreement for probably 17 years now. But before I get into that, before we ask for their commitment, I don't call it a buyer advantage, but I go through my commitment form, which is, hey, here's all the things, and we go through and explain, or I go through and explain, and I say we because the team now, all the things that they can expect for us, that we're going to go above and beyond for them, before we ask their commitment, just like through a listing
Yeah.
presentation of, okay, we're articulating our value. And for those that are having concerns of this, it's like, man, I was just having a conversation with all my top agents the other day, and we were trying to put a percentage to the amount that don't seamlessly, easily move forward signing the buyer broker. And I mean, it's way, way less than 1 out of 100. It's so easy to get if
Mm-hmm.
you nail that articulation of value.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what
Yeah.
you're doing to your buyer advantage.
And confidence is only going to grow with time. Practice makes, well, close to perfect. But the more you do it, the better you're going to get. But if you never start, you're never going to get there.
Yep. And then for you, I'm sure it helps where they can just go online and see your 900 5-star plus Zillow reviews. Yeah, right. If they have
Yeah,
any doubt.
another benefit of joining a team.
Yep. Yep. 100%. So then, okay. So then now let's transition into agent recruiting. And I want to take this twofold because, you've got, I mean, how many agents are on your team right now? 50, 60?
55.
Okay. 55, plus, and I'm just trying to go off memory here, so correct me on the numbers, but you've built this big downline, 500, 600, people in your downline, or might be more, through AXP. So I kind of want to hit these twofold. So maybe let's first talk about, like what you are doing intentionally and internally to recruit agents directly to your team. And then I want to transition to what you're doing to grow your downline as well.
Yeah, so we have several channels. We do social, they come in from there. We have an Indeed ad, we have a real estate school ad. But our number one source of recruiting right now is agents referrals from either our team, our network partners that just don't have the capacity or can't offer the agent, on their team what we can offer on ours. Maybe it's demographic area. And did I already say our agent? So
Yep.
it's having these referrals. We're netting about 4, 5 agents every month right now. And obviously they have to go through the system before where they funnel. But that is all from those referrals. Indeed is still really good. We have spiced up our ad, we have put in videos, and we don't make it too hard for them to get in contact with us. But we are seeing a lot more actually really strong agents that are coming in from those channels. And then through that, like, I'm very blessed to be a part of this platform where other agents can literally, if they say they have an agent, a co-list agent, a friend, they're like, wow, they're interested in possibly getting their license, or they're interested in growing their business, they're struggling right now. All they have to do is refer it to us. We will talk to them about our brokerage, our team, and if they join, they're going to go under him. So now I have taught him to teach a man to fish. So it's not just teach a man to fish, it's teach a man to teach a man to fish. So once we train our agents like how easy it is, just these simple steps, you don't have to explain everything on our team or our network, then they can implement it. And then when they bring somebody on, what do they teach them? Hey dude, if it's cross sale agent or whatever, all you have to do is refer it to Jen and Justin, and that one person can obviously, grow, and that person grows, and we have 7 levels deep. But it's that win-win solution where, like, say Austin, the person that had seen me on your podcast 9 years ago, one of our top agents, he's referred 8 agents into our brokerage. It's paying for his Tesla some months. He has enough excitement, he really wants a McLaren. So now he has McLaren goals, and he's like, that's my rev share. If my rev share covers my McLaren, I'm happy. So it's really like really it's pouring into people, and it grows organically. We put them through our systems. I'm very involved with the team, and especially with top agents, I coach them for life. I love building businesses, and our top agents are not just trying to grow careers, but they're trying to grow true businesses. So that's where I put my energy. But no matter where you're starting in real estate, we have like a roadmap. We have a pathway that all you have to do is jump on it. And we're always trying to make it better. So our recruiting, those are our main sources. And really what we're doing is just working harder and harder. We have events, forgot that. We have training events, we have masterminds. And that's like the second part of our funnel is what's the next logical step. It's either an interview, or it's going to be invite them to one of our training events or masterminds, or one of our coaching sessions. We have so much to invite them to, even if it's like a sneak peek on our agents role play. Sneak peek, come into our office, meet our agents, but always have an invite to every person you meet that's a potential person in your world.
Yeah. When I was going to ask you how the events are, I mean, and I didn't know if the events were more for just giving back to the community, or if they were something that was a great party recruiting leg. Cause I mean, you put these events on almost monthly, and I was
Both.
at your previous event, which was an epic. I mean, and that room was packed. You had that room filled.
Yeah, we've been running 300-person events for the last we really grew it from like 20 people showing up, and they weren't very good, to 300 people. That's just one of our funnels. So that's like kind of like a top line funnel. We do have emails, texts, like value that's going out before the event. We have the advertising that's going on. Then at the event, we have like obviously meeting and greeting, and then we have the follow-up process, the post, getting the social media, the FOMO. But that is going to be what agents are following you. And there's more agents that follow you than you think. I've had so many agents that I've never seen comment on any of my stuff. I never saw theirs, but I put the right post out, they DM me, and the DMing is gold. Like, I love DMs. It's such an easy call to action. Respond to every DM. Say an agent, you're DMing, make sure you friend them and follow them and make comments, like their posts. They're going to see that. And that's going to be that runway of building that rapport.
Yep. Love it. So then, now are are those, is that kind of both of those, using those is that also the same way that you're building your downline? Are there additional things? Because it sounds like everything that you
Oh
talk
yeah,
about
there's
recruiting your
additional
team is
things.
building a downline, but are there additional things? Because you've been scaling this
Yeah.
downline pretty damn fast.
Yeah, so we one of my favorites, this is how I've gotten every one of my builders, is the exclusive event where it's going to be more higher level, deep, smaller with our group. So we'll go to Montana, we'll go to Nashville, we'll go to like San Diego where there's like water slides at Airbnb. We'll spend 4 hours masterminding the deep stuff, the opening up of the playbook stuff. These are with the most brilliant agents. And then we'll go like hike and we'll go like out to music or whatever it is. So we have a lot of fun. I invite builders, people that I like too. I'm not inviting just because they're successful. I'm not inviting them. But, if I've built rapport, I invite them. All they have to do is experience it. That's how I've gotten every single one of my own personal frontline, builders to come to that. So it's really event. We have masterminds every week. We have a Monday with our generals. There's about 900 agents on that call. They're always getting into the deep stuff. I do a monthly class where I personally at like 10 a.m. I just go through a very relevant topic. Next month is going to be I'm going to go through our getting our VIP agreement signed and the buyer presentation. So that's another funnel. So if you kind of look at top line, we have the events, we're inviting people there, we're making connections, we have breaking bread, we're inviting them to the next thing. Maybe they're wanting, depending on what their business is at, we kind of determine what's the best thing to invite them to. And it's really um I only have 20 agents in my front line right now, which I'm not happy about, but I have 560 agents in my network. And one of my builders, John Glutch, he's built 200 of my 550. And
Yeah.
how did I get him? Invited him to a mastermind and I let other smart people convert him for me.
Yep. 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 Well, and if I'm just kind of at a very high level, summarizing, okay, it's like you have the same intentionality. And the reason why I'm asking this is because I know that there's a lot that watch and listen to this podcast that are with, EXP or the other, style real, there's bazillion of them out there now, but a lot of people want to build the downline, which it's very lucrative. I don't know why anybody wouldn't take full advantage of that. But very few actually do it, but you treat this no different than how you treated growing your buy and sell traditional business. Is, look, you have your lead gen pillars, you have your consistent follow-up, you have you have a dedicated game plan, lead gen, lead follow-up strategies, like you're working it.
Yeah. So, I knew about the EXP platform for about a year. One of my old friends, she used to own 7 brokerages. And then when the market tanked, she got into like network marketing. So she loved this network marketing thing. So she had been working on me for a year. I was not interested at all. It was a 3 max, like, ew, EXP doesn't even sound good. But when my mentors, Kyle Whistle and Dan Beer, super successful, stats #1, #2 in San Diego, Kyle Whistle's #1 in EXP, but they were my friends. So when they moved, I'm like, I knew they knew something, right? They were at where I wanted to be. They were also my mentors. Kyle had been kind of coaching me for the last 10 years. So I wanted to know, okay, guys, I have no intention of moving. I really don't want to have to, change my branding from Remax, this unknown brokerage. But I knew that they had the playbook. Once I saw the model, I couldn't look back because I saw the solutions. I have my most loyal agent who's been with me 10 years. NAR does not give us a pension. How am I going to provide a passive income so she can actually retire it someday? Then I looked at the other demographic, my top agent, they're like gun ho, you're so excited. 2 years later, they want to grow their own team and they take all their leads. You're devastated. 3 or 4 agents follow them. And you're crying every night. I'm like, wow, we don't have to divorce. I'm like, how can I help you build your team? So that is like, I saw a win-win that's going to attract all demographics. Now, of course, like some are going to leave and go to another brokerage, That's attrition. And that is just like, it's not embarrassing. Every team is going to have attrition. Hopefully you have attrition, because hopefully if people come in to your world and they don't work, you're able to have that difficult conversation and let them go. But it's the humans that are the most important. Who you partner with matters. I've had a lot of agents in EXP that were with a different group, and they like got excited about the opportunity. They love the platform. They love what EXP stood for, but they had a horrible, someone that just signed them on, just sign this here and offer no value, right? That can happen. It can happen at any brokerage. Good news is only 7% of all agents at EXP are builders. So that means 93% of agents are just there selling homes, because if we don't sell homes, we don't get paid. If you're just joining somebody that's just there to recruit and they don't sell homes, how are you going to learn from them? It's just like being at Remax. I used to have these brokers that hadn't sold homes in 20 years, and they're trying to teach me a business. So when you're interviewing, interview several agents from EXP, go to one of their masterminds. The words mastermind and training mean nothing because everyone uses them. The only way to really understand, is it true or not, is to go experience it. Go and show up. But we get a lot of flack for saying like, oh, you're recruiting. I don't want to recruit. Agents, you recruit every single day looking for buyers and sellers. But buyers and sellers, you get paid and then you're unemployed again. What happens when you bring an agent into your world? You recruited them, you're going to teach them to sell houses, and you can get paid passively for as long, as they're with EXP.
Yep. Yep. Hey, Joshua Smith here, and I really hope that you are enjoying this GSD Mode podcast so far. We'll get back to it here in a quick second. Just want to do a quick reminder that, look, if you're a real estate agent, team leader, and broker owner, and your real estate business is not exactly where you want and need, and you do not know exactly what you must do to get from where you're at to where you want to go, if that's you, I invite you to schedule a 100% free Zoom coaching call with me personally. This is going to be a 60-minute long Zoom coaching call with you and I. We're going to do a deep dive breakdown into your business, what you're doing, what you've been doing, what's going well, what's not going well, what your biggest obstacles are, your current situation. Then from there, I'm going to map out my exact recommended strategy to get you from where you're at to where you want to go in the most quickest, effective, profitable manner possible. So if this is you, something that you want help with, something that you want to take advantage of, go to www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call, www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call, or wherever you're watching or listening. If you just go in the description or the show notes, the top link right there will be a link to go out there and schedule that. Looking forward to jumping on this free coaching call to help you get dialed inside your real estate business soon. Now let's get back to this epic GSD Mode podcast. Yep. And like you, and I'm not with, EXP, but when I first saw the model, I was very skeptical, but this was infancy stages. They still weren't profitable yet. It was, it was a new concept, and, but man, and we both have, well, including yourself, but others that we know that it's changed their life. I mean, I have not so many, but a handful of friends now making multiple six figures on a monthly basis, through their rev share that have had, again, it's not like oh, this is just easy, you're going to plug into it and you're going to build this rev. No, they're treating it like a business. It's intentional, just like building your buy side, sell side, traditional business. I mean, they work the hell out of it, but man, I mean, some of the networks that they built and the rev share coming is freaking mind blowing seeing some of that. And I love, even though I'm not, again, with them, but I'm a huge fan of the model, because it's like, I mean, look, you and I both, and nothing against Remax, brilliant, amazing, organization. But I mean, how many years did you and I spend there? And eventually when we left, it's like, what'd you get out of that? Maybe some knowledge, but it's like, I love these, which EXP is, I guess, created the foundation of this model, or, but where everybody can win.
No, yeah. I mean, I looked back and I'm like, I paid Remax $75,000 in 1 year to run my business. What did they give me? They never gave me a single lead. They never gave me a single agent. They didn't open their playbook on how I can use my CRM. And so, I didn't like that. And I came from humble beginnings, but in Riverside, California, there wasn't a lot of big dreamers there. My family's path, this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go to college, you're supposed to get a job, and then you have vacations, and at some point you retire and then you're done. I'm like, life's got to be more than that, right? So I saw real estate as an opportunity. I remember taking business at Cal State Long Beach and learning that McDonald's is the number one reason why they're successful at where their wealth is the real estate they owned. So, I saw that, but it's like squeezing the lemons, right? You're a good agent, you know how to sell homes. That's amazing. How could you squeeze the lemons out of that? Could you teach other agents that? All it is like most of us want to help, right? Most of us, it's just like you like a person, you want to help them. Do you want to be profitable? Do you want to like actually be like, hey, when you win, I win, how can I help you? And we might say we're nice all the day. I'm a single mom of 4 kids, and I am a nice person, I believe. But like if I give every agent time of just teaching them and there's no financial benefit, I'm not going to go broke for you. I need to feed my kids. But if you're looking at like, how can I be financially incentivized to help this really cool agent grow their business? And that's the exciting part.
Yep. Yep. Plus you get stock. Plus you get, no, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So, okay. So a couple last questions for you, but before I jump into those, for anybody that's watching and listening, if they want to, continue following you on this amazing success journey, maybe they're interested in attending one of your events, checking out what you have. Maybe they're interested in having a conversation with you about either joining your amazing team, or maybe they want to, partner with you at EXP. Like where is the best place and or places to go do that at?
Yes. So, I feel like the best call to action, the easiest place to connect is Instagram. So I am still Jennifer.Wehner, Jennifer.Wehner. DM me. I'm always checking personally all my DMs. I get back to everybody. Also, if you like to read, I have a book, The Renaissance Real Estate Agent, which is all my knowledge and blood, sweat, and tears, 20 years. And so you can find that on Amazon. And anybody that buys my book, you get a free coaching session. But yeah, that would be the best way to find me.
Yep. Awesome. And anybody that's watching or listening, wherever you're at, if you just scroll below into the show notes or the description, I'll have Jen's Instagram link right there, and I'll get a link to the book on Amazon right there for you as well. So, okay. So kind of switching gears here. All right. So you've got all these amazing businesses, created all the success, mother of four, but then you still find time to not just build your businesses, but to be a great mom, to take care of your health. I know a lot of people are listening to this, but anybody that's watching this can see that you're in epic shape. So, like, how do you balance your time, if there is such a word as balance? Like, how do you make the time, to go out there and because we know so many that grow a great business, but then they end up dropping the ball in every other facet of their life, or vice versa. It's like, hey, a lot of people think it's got to be this other or. If I want to be a great mom, that means I got to sacrifice my career, or my
Yeah.
health. Well, you've figured out a way to do it all.
Yeah. And okay, so, we've heard of the airplane, theory of like you need to help yourself when the mask drops before you can help someone else. Self-care is extremely important to me, and it's not just because I want to look good. I almost lost my colon in 2015 from my ulcerative colitis, my autoimmune. And I'm like asking the doctor, you're going to have to do steroids. You might have to have it removed. I'm like, well, is there anything like diet or like exercise? He's like, I don't know. So I went to my friend Google, and then I got into podcasts, I got into books. Like I'm a learning junkie. I started fasting. I started cold plunging. I'm at the gym every day. And it sucks at first starting those boundaries. I like to wake up at 7:30, and waking up at 4 sucks. But I knew I needed to do this, or I might have to have literally a bag on my body, with poop in it. But since then I've been completely in remission. I have no symptoms whatsoever of a disease that took 15 years of my life where not a single day went by without symptoms. So that health, I'm also a former alcoholic. 6 years ago, I got sober. Since then, I've been able to know that everything's connected, right? Mind, body, spirit. Like besides lifting, yoga is a spiritual practice for me. I call it the CEO 1 hour vacation. Literally, I go in there, I try to survive. I'm not thinking about anything else than trying to survive and breathe. But with that, I've also treated my family life. I look at leverage. Where can I find leverage? I feel like I'm a lazy person inside trying to find a way to be lazy someday. But I run my house like I run a business. Leverage, yes, I'm probably the best cleaner, you might find, because I have OCD, and I just Marie Kondo, I love beautiful things. But if I clean my house, and I, sometimes I have to reorganizing, but if I clean my house every week, say it's 4 hours of my time that it would take to do that, and my dollar per hour is 300, and I could pay somebody 200, I just lost 10 or $1,000 by cleaning my own house. Having leverage, like somebody coming in to pick up my kids from school, do their homework with them, get their snacks, clean up. I get home at the end of the day, my house is clean, my kids have gotten their homework out of the way, and then it's quality versus quantity. So having dinner, having an activity, we're going to do something every day together. I also have, I call it the family board meeting. It's actually, if you go to Amazon, there's a great book and a workbook. Um, every Sunday with my kids, I have 3 in the house. We go over like what their week looks like, school, talk about, one thing you're grateful for, something, a shout out to somebody else, some things that are exciting, like where do we want to go on vacation? But that way we have, just like you'd have like a huddle with your team every week, having a huddle with your family, like, oh, mom is going to go on a business trip Thursday to Friday. Really just kind of preparing them. And then discipline. I mean, I have spreadsheets of tasks that each kid is responsible for. And if they don't do it, there's going to be some consequences. And there's going to be some bonuses of like, if you do this, this is what we can do together. So it's really having that discipline, the same theory of my team, where if you come to me with a problem, you have to have at least one solution, if not 2 or 3 possible ones before you come to me. I do the same thing with my kids. Oh, mom, I can't find this. Okay, well, what do you think you should do next? Oh, maybe look here. Good one. Why don't you go do that? But it's learning, it's teaching them to think and coming to their own conclusions instead of just telling them what to do and they never learn. So that leverage, when I went to go rebuild my life after everything fell apart, and I'm working 7 days a week and I'm like not happy, and I would take my kids to showings and, do whatever I can do. I started to create boundaries. And with that, you have to say, you say no to some things, you say yes to other things. So with that, in business and life, I don't have a million friends. And most of my friends are in real estate. But it's important to me because I'm not working, I'm with my kids. And I don't have a lot of time to talk talk to a lot of people. We don't have similar interests. We're not like obsessed about like growing. I'm not going to give my time, I might love them, namaste, but I'm not going to give you my time. We're going to start hanging out with you every week. But what I did is every Sunday I talked to my clients. I didn't have a team. Every Sunday I took off with my kids, I just took my kids out. We're going to do something fun every Sunday, Sunday fun day. And they got looked forward to that. And even if I had to work Monday through Saturday, Sunday, they knew they were getting mom. Obviously, since then, I put leverage in place and I pretty much take every weekend off. But sometimes I go on work trips and stuff like that. Sorry. But yeah, it's never balanced ever, but it's a constant balancing act. But I live through my calendar. It's color coded. At a week's glance, I have purple is the color for my kids. Yellow is any things I'm doing for myself. Green is money appointments. Red is deadline. So you can look at my week and see, and blue is just like the admin, like functional stuff. So I look and I could see, dang, I have a lot of personal stuff this week. Dang, I need more green on my calendar. So it's like, show me your calendar and I'll show you your paycheck. It really is that. And even I'm getting even like deeper on my calendar. So if I say prospecting, it's not going to just say prospecting. It's going to say top 10 hot list. It's going to say exactly who I need to call. If I have a social media block, it's going to say exactly what my post is going to be. And that way I know exactly what to do. And it doesn't get, oh, it's 9 o'clock for prospecting. Oh crap, what do I do? Maybe I should search social, but it's going to give me the actual thing that I know I can actually cross off and check off and know that I did it.
Yep. Yep. No, such powerful stuff. All right. So last question for you. I know we're going long on time here. Okay. So, I mean, you've created such an amazing business and you've had so much success. Like what's next for you? Like what's your next, vision for the next 10 years or that long-term vision for where you want to, that next level that you want to take all of this to?
Well, bucket list item, and that's not for the next year or two, but as I want to build a library and leave behind for the world, because it's sad that with technology, only 3% of the population are readers, but it's sad we might not even have books and everything will be online. And when AI takes over the world, we'll be so sad that like it's gone and we don't have any of the books. But back up, I am always looking to grow. I'm looking to grow nationally. My passion, you wouldn't have to pay me to do this, is to first of all learn from people and help them in any way I can. But it's really scaling a business and a life. It's more than just money. It's way beyond myself. It's like the legacy that I leave behind. How did I make this world a little bit better, when I'm here? So I am looking to coach agents, across the nation. I'm growing my team. I'm growing my local team. I have side businesses, grow my title company, grow my real estate portfolio, grow my stock and be more diversified. I know where I'm not an expert. Being a financial advisor is not my expertise, but I just level up on the people I leverage. So, sometimes you're going to have to divorce your CPA. Sometimes you're going to have to divorce your financial advisor because you've moved to the next level. Being smarter with my money, because I love to make money, but sometimes I could spend it just as fast. So it's really getting like exciting. I want my money to make money for me. And then I know we're going to talk because I'm really interested in more of like a coaching course. Yeah, besides like growing people, I want to travel the world. I want to have a beautiful home. Kind of, and when I say beautiful, I mean like inside and out. It's something that I've worked a really long time in life and didn't have. And I'm really excited to build that, not just for my kids, but my grandkids. My oldest is 27. So hopefully, I'll have a grandkid and coach agents, coaching program. So, and
Yep.
I'm going to write another book for sure.
Yep. Hell yeah. Such powerful stuff, such amazing stuff. And Jen, I know how busy you are, and the fact that you took time out of your busy to be here with us just truly means a lot. And this has been a lot of fun and a huge honor.
Oh no, it's my honor. I've been following you forever. I love it. I love your people. So thank you so much for having me.
Yep, 100% truly means a lot. And those watching and listening, keep crushing it. We truly appreciate you being here, spending this time with us. Keep up all the amazing work, and we will see you next time. Peace. Joshua Smith here. I truly hope that you enjoyed and got a ton of value out of that interview that you just got done listening or watching here on the GSD Mode podcast. Just one last quick reminder. Look, if you are a real estate agent, if you are a team leader, or if you are a real estate brokerage owner and your business is not exactly where you want and need it to be, and if you want my help for 100% free, zero cost, we can schedule a 100% free Zoom coaching call together where we're going to spend 1 hour on a Zoom call breaking down where your business is currently at, what your 12-month goals are, what your long-term goals and visions are, what you're currently doing, what your biggest obstacles are. After I spend about 10 to 15 minutes having a conversation with you, gathering all that information, then from there, I'm going to map out, once I know about your situation, your business, I'm going to map out my exact recommended strategy to get you from where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner possible. So if you want to be like a horse with the blinders on, where you know exactly what you must do, eliminate all that guesswork, where you are 100% dialed in, all you got to do is go out there and execute to make your goals a reality. If that is you and something you want to take advantage of, go to www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. Wherever you're watching this, wherever you're listening to this, if you scroll below to the show notes or the video description, if you're on YouTube, or if you're listening to the podcast, the show notes, it'll be the top link at the very top in there that you can just click to that. Or if you're driving down the road, you can always just remember to go to gsdmode.com. You'll see an area on their top banner on there to go out there and schedule that. So if you are struggling in your business, I'm throwing you the lifeline right now. It's 100% free. You have my 100% word that you will not leave this free Zoom coaching call without knowing exactly what you must do to get from where you're at to where you want to go. It's going to be no fluff, no bullshit. It's not what we do here in the GSD Mode podcast. We are here to get you dialed in, get your business to the next level. I can't continue doing these forever. They're very time consuming. I freaking love them. I love helping you. I love helping you get dialed in. Love seeing, you guys go out there and crush it and get results, which is why I've been doing this podcast for so long and continue to do it. But with these one-on-one coaching calls, very time consuming on my behalf. Can't continue doing them forever. So if you want to take advantage of this time, go ahead and book this ASAP and I will get you dialed in. I got you back. I got you covered. Looking forward to jamming with you soon. Get www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. I hope to see you on that call soon and keep crushing it. Keep kicking ass. Truly appreciate all your support. Peace.